Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, non-classic. This is episode number 3021, Doubleshot number 2915. Basically, the first thing we're discussing here is Warlock Chronicles, well, the first 5 issues of the series, because I've already discussed issues 6 to 8 as part of a crossover with Thor and the Silver Surfer in a Thor Epic Collection. Which these issues also cross over with issues of Warlock Infinity Watch, which I'll discuss those two, issues 18 and 22, along with a trade that collects the only other thing discussed as far as War Zone. First, let me show this awesome first cover that the first issue of Warlock Chronicles had. Yep, and keep this was a limited series released in the 90s. Yeah, a limited series. This book, a Warlock solo book. Basically, the first issue of this very book, is it a tie-in? Later issues are. The very first issue is a tie-in to Infinity Crusade. Yes. First appearance of a character named Darklore, who becomes like a... I think it becomes like a real character for this very book. Yeah. The mostly part, a lot of this book deals with like the Infinity Crusade. First appearance of also a character named Mary Lynn, who goes after Darklore. And she's only in the opening issue of this book, and then she's in issues of Warlock Infinity Watch, and that's it for her. The whole thing with the opening issue, it's basically a recap. Aside from introducing 2 new characters, it is a recap of Warlock's backstory. And then, of course, we continue on to Warlock Infinity Watch. So basically, this continued over in Warlock Infinity Watch. Number 18. Excuse me, yes. Where I said to include these issues in here purely because basically the thing says to be continued in that book. Because that's kind of the story continues in. So then pretty much basically with Warlock Infinity Watch number 18. Which, by the way, this book is also written by Jim Starlin as well. Ready for the Pitman. Yes, the whole issue is... How should I put this? It is basically what the group Infinity Watch was doing. Now, it is really interesting moment here. We have basically where this specific book looks like it's all about Pip the Troll. You just have Moondragon go back to her room and takes off her big coat that she wears, and just wears the underneath her big huge bed. We have Drax, this other guy, basically. I think his name is Maximum. Yeah, him and Maximum. Maximum made his debut in issue 12 of this book. They use arm wrestling. Gamora goes through a portal, thanks to the goddess. And of course, basically, Pip becomes Pitman. Yes, Pitman. And Drax is so funny. And then he summons Mr. Fantastic to their base. Yep. The whole crusade stuff, because the whole thing with the crusade is that the woman known as the goddess is manipulated to fight each other. And then, of course, Maxim and Pip are teleported to the goddess's base on I believe it is someplace there are. So the whole thing with one of these recruits out those two characters. Moving on to issue number 2 of Warlock Warlock Chronicles, where Warlock is working with Thanos' issue. And still part of the Warlock part of the Infinity Crusade story. And basically they just recap what the guy was up to in the main book. And as for Warlock Infinity Watch number 19, and the funny cover image is basically just the cover is just, oh, who's next? It beats a bunch of big guys. And then the art goes really weird in this issue. Oh my gosh. It's like the art is, it's like, let's give a different shade in this book. And Wolverine, this is where he meets Wolverine for the first time. Yes, he meets Wolverine. I don't know if Wolverine remembers him after this story, but yeah. Of course, also Wolverine is wearing, not the Jim Lee designed attire that he's known for wearing at this point. Nope. For some reason, the artist gave him the John Byrne look. And you have stuff going here with Galactus, him basically witnessing all this. And then the Mold Man is recruited. He plays a small role in the tie-in for this book. Yes. And then we see 2 Celestials just watching this. You have people from Alpha Flight, Fantastic Four, Speedball just hanging out in this goddess base. By Machina her, and of course, then the goddess. Actually, not the goddess. Basically, and then Death herself shows up. Oh yeah, and now Moondrag is back in her cloak again. And then we're moving back to Warlock and the Infinity Watch, Warlock Chronicles issue number 3, where basically, if you read the main book, this is kind of, well, how Mephisto works with Thanos and Warlock to deal with the goddess. It just how they came together. And we move back over to issue number 20 for Warlock and the Infinity Watch. Or Warlock thinks, or basically Pip thinks he's the king of the universe, even though he really isn't. You also have Angel Medina doing the artwork of this issue. Yep. Adrian basically was the artist from the start of Warlock Infinity Watch. And Angel came back for 20 after skipping issue 19. I wonder why the artwork is that right. This whole issue is basically a Pip-focused issue. Yes, Thanos is like, really? The whole thing with Warlock sleeping because stuff happening in Infinity Crusade. So we have at one point we see his one here. Oh, Captain America. One are fine. The next panel, basically, they become goops. Like their energy goes really weird. Oh yeah, so basically, Warlock is in Soul World. Pip thinks he's a god. Of course, celebrates Pip's birthday. And then, of course, Silhouette shows up to ruin the fun. Silhouette from the pages of New Warriors. Yep. And then, well, then, of course, next, Warlock Chronicles number 4. where it's basically Warlock dealing with Magnus. Yep, the Magnus is back. Think what? Really? I thought he was defeated in the last crossover. You know, Infinity War. He was. He comes back here just to taunt down Warlock. That's the whole purpose of being here. Though he had actually returned Infinity Crusade, he returned Moon and Mark's back to Moon Knight. Like, really? Yeah, really. And then, of course, moving back over to Warlock Infinity Watch, issue number 21, where the title of the issue is Not a Lie. We have Drax versus the God of Thunder himself. Which the cover itself is a nice nod to, I think it was Journey's Mystery Inn. I think it was Thor 126. You have Tim Granberg doing the artwork of this issue, and my gosh, the artwork of this issue is so weird. And that's really what happens to this issue, just Thor versus Drax. I like the writing here, but not a fan of the art. Like, Thor looks freaking huge! Like, what the heck? He's big as a house. At least, basically, title didn't lie. They did fight. And the next, moving over to the last issue we can discuss for Warlock Chronicles, issue number 5. Or basically, this is just has this weird moment where basically, like, Warlock becomes basically like half version of the goddess because the goddess is like half of him. Yeah, it's a weird issue. And then moving on to the final issue of Warlock Chronicles discuss, Warlock Infinity Watch, where the whole thing of this one is bizarre to say the least. 22 involves Mole Man going to war with the U.S. Navy, where at one point his Mole people will steal Navy uniforms. You're like, what? This is Jim Starlin being funny. I thought it was kind of funny, but Warlock himself does not really play a role in the story at all. Like, there's appearance about by the Clintons. Because, you know, topical. Warlock, like I said, does not do much in the story. It's all Mole Man himself. But that's pretty much basically all the issues in a nutshell. It's kind of interesting the fact that these books kind of cross with each other a little bit, where they kind of continue the stories over each other. Yeah. So, what these books talked about here. So that means that I'm looking at this like there's not much. I don't think it's anything to discuss for Infinity Crusade except the main story. Yeah, because I've already discussed Alpha Flight, Adventurous Coast, Cage, Darkhawk. Actually, no, there actually is two books to discuss here. There is Deathlock and Silver Sable and Wildpack. Aside from those two, there's like not much to discuss here for this one. Oh, and what happened next right after this wrapped up for Warlock Chronicles and Warlock Infinity Watch? Why, we had the event Blood and Thunder. Yep, it was like right after this crossover wrapped up. Yep, the event that ended Warlock Chronicles. Yep, the final issue was actually released during this story. Infinity Watch to celebrate 25 issues. This book managed to last for another 17 issues before finally ending. In the case of Mighty Thor, this book managed to last for, believe it or not, 31 issues. You heard that correct. Mighty Thor Volume 1 managed to last for 31 more issues before the book ends. Yeah. But what do I call? What would they give the rating for Warlock Chronicles and Warlock Infinity Watch? I got both books 10 out of 10. These books will have, actually, I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 because of basically 19's awful artwork. And also for, I think it was like 21's artwork was really bizarre. It was not that good. It reminded me a lot of the artwork from Secret Avengers. Alright, so next up we're discussing here is an actual Punisher Warzone trade. Yes. And the trade is called Punisher Warzone, The Resurrection of Ma Gnucci, which collects the entire 6-issue second volume. Yeah, and it's written by Garth Ennis, art by Steve Dillon. The book itself is basically a sequel to Welcome Back, Frank. Well, there's many factors in the story. So, Punisher saved this informant of his from being killed, and he just kind of works with him. Also, we see the return of Molly. Yeah, we see the return of Molly Van Roofton, who, prior to this book, had not been seen in comics since the end of the Welcome Back Frank stuff. Yeah, that was back in 2000. The final issue for that one. Yeah, her final appearance was in January of 2001. What is to say it's 2001 that came out. And then, of course, you have this book come out in 2008. Yes. Oh, the informant, his name is Charlie Schutte. And he is only in this only one mini-series. And, of course, we see the debut of a guy by the name of Tim. Well, this guy was seen as a background character in the Welcome Back Frank stuff. This is the second Elite. The original Elite was part of this group known as the Vigilante Squad, comprised of the Holy and and Mr. Payback. At one point, they actually wanted Punisher to lead them, and well, he's like, nope. So he kills him because Mr. Payback killed a cleaning lady who had nothing to do with the corporate stuff, called Leah Nazi. And, well, and he called the Holy a lunatic. He's like, and Holy's like, I'd like you to lead us. He's like, no. So he proceeds to mow them down with machine gun fire. By the way, the whole thing related to that is not really mentioned here. Yeah, and the whole thing also in this book, we see, oh look, it's Ma Gnucci. Even though she's dead, she burned to death in the fourth volume of the series. Oh yeah, Molly. First time we see her, she is finished getting dressed after having sex with a woman, because Molly is a lesbian. They outed her. They basically revealed that in basically her debut appearance. And her whole subplot is that she is protecting her girlfriend from not good people, and she says, like, she likes Molly, but she's not really into girls, she's into guys. But yet she slept with Molly. And then we see her making out with another guy who turns out he's a cop, which Molly proceeds to break his taillight and kick him in the balls. Yes.
First set of clothes.
Okay.
Maybe you can take care of the 6 by the shed. Some others in the plane.
Okay.
No, I know where this thing is. I don't know where the lockers are, so.
Okay.
The garage.
Anyways, sorry for that rude interruption. So, yeah, then later on, basically, we find Molly's girlfriend at a lesbian bar where the bartender is touching her hand. Molly doesn't like that very much, so on panel, it's implied that she actually broke the woman's nose. Or at least that she probably nearly crushed her face because she sees some blood. Yeah. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Then she's called in because they found Gnucci. And he's like, that's not Gnucci. She's dead. I saw her burn up myself. Punisher killed her. Yeah, and all because basically, because Punisher saw Gnucci. Like, wait, how's she alive? She died. Well, that's because basically there was a bunch of quadriplegic people who lost their limbs. Were surgical to look like Gnucci. And it's like, the best way to describe this is that the Elite did this just to have revenge against the Punisher for killing his father. Yeah. Then at one point, Punisher, by the way, Punisher, part of this book, he actually had previously appeared at the end of the previous Punisher Warzone book. Which, I thought it was kind of weird that chronologically was set right after this Epic re-release. Like, from what I can tell anyways, is that chronologically that book came out like a year prior to this, like a month prior to, after this one. Res one. Yeah. Alright, Punisher is finally the final issue of the book. And then, of course, then he pays a visit to Gnucci's grave. And this is where, she's back to Punisher task force. Yes, it's a reference to the first, it's a reference to that. Which, by the way, Martin Soap is actually mentioned this volume, but he does not make an appearance. Well, there's a reason why. And that's because the police force got a porn star. Yes, that's what happened with him. He retired because he got tired of all the blackmail, so he retired to become a porn star. Also, he had a thing for Molly, the subject she was lesbian. Oh, her girlfriend's name is Shannon. Yeah. And of course, you have all these other ones, and toward the end of this book, Punisher brings the guy back to his house. Punisher realizes his informant is loopy after taking a tranquilizer to the head. So he's like grabbing at a pumpkin, poking it with his finger, and then Punisher proceeds to buy it for him. So take him back to his house. They beat up the guys in his house. Actually, they proceed to kill him. Molly shows like, oh, Lieutenant Von Merchant. Molly's like, you remember me? Yeah, you're Soap's partner. And that's your only mention you get of Martin Soap the entire book. Yeah, and then of course basically they're caught in a gunfight with a bunch of gangsters to a point where they burn in the house. So Molly's clothes catch on fire, so Punisher proceeds to rip out her blouse and her skirt off her, where she's in her underwear. Oh yeah, and then eventually after all the guys are dead, the police show up, and she's like, I'm LAPD. He's like, where's the badge? Oh yeah, she gets suspended for this. Oh, and the arco is basically Punisher and the sexy lesbian cop beat and kill a bunch of gangsters. I'm like, yeah, she gets suspended for this. Her girlfriend is indifferent, doesn't leave her per se. And Punisher goes on his merry way. And, well, by the way, he ends up fighting the Elite, the new one. Yeah, and also he wishes to kill all the doubles of Gnucci. He kills them all. He kills the Elite. And he goes on his merry way. Next time we see him is in actually in the Dark Reign relaunch. Which, so basically you could say that this whole mini-series is set between the end of Punisher War Journal Volume 2 and this before the Dark Reign stuff. Despite the fact this has been published around the same period of time as that. Oh, and here's something interesting though. One of the last books published under the Marvel Knights imprint. You're thinking, really? Yeah, really. The imprint that practically financially saved Marvel Comics. Yeah, this was one of the last books published under that. There were other Marvel Knights basically like afterwards, like there was Marvel Knights Spider-Man, there was other ones that just showcase basically. So, like I said, one of the last books they had, because after this, here's what you have for Marvel Knights. You had 2 volumes of Strange Tales, the Fly Company series I have reviewed, Deadpool Way Wilson's War, a Deathlock book, which I will review in the future, Spire and Fever, Thor for Asgard, Bullseye Perfect Game, Iron Man Rapture, and I think that was the last regular one for a while. And then get this. Then we had like these 4 mini-series. We had 3 mini-series come out in the span of a year. Marvel Knights Hulk, Spider-Man, and X-Men. All 4 or 5 issue pieces. Then you had 20th anniversary. You could say Marvel Knights was very consistently published from 98 forward. The last regular book to be published under this imprint was Black Panther. Black Panther was only the book. Him and Marvel Knights, there was Marvel Knights 4. Yeah, then the imprint ended. Kind of. Well, this was the relaunch book. Yeah, the first 13 issues of the relaunch, basically, was part of it. And, basically, it was published regularly. And after, like, 06, it was just miniseries. Yeah, 06 was when they stopped doing ongoings. Then we did miniseries. You had miniseries like Battling Jack Murdoch. So was Requiem. The first Rain book, Viva Las Vegas. So our deaths, which I had previously reviewed. Spider of Great Power. There's miniseries Angel, Logan, Magneto. This book. All miniseries. Then by 2011, all stopped. Brought back for those 3 miniseries and the 20th anniversary one, and that was it. So this was technically the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This was technically the 9th and last miniseries that was, well, regularly published under the imprint until its conclusion, until it was had to basically come to an end. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this. Oh, I get Punisher Warzone, Resurrection by Gnucci. I give that a 10 out of 10 because I thought it was a really fun book. Next I'm going to do is One Punch Man. Yep. Next view.